My fiancée used me as an ATM for 2 years, but when I discovered her plan to drain $30K from me, I exposed her in front of 40 guests at a BBQ and canceled the wedding of the year. I'm 31 years old, work in corporate finance, and if someone had told me 2 years ago that I was going to cancel my wedding by exposing my fiancée in front of all our friends and family for being a manipulative liar who only wanted my money, I probably would have laughed in their face. But, well, here we are, and I need to tell this story because there are still days when I wake up and can't believe that everything I lived with Nicole was basically an Oscar-worthy performance. I met Nicole like 3 years ago on a dating app. You know, those things we all use now because apparently meeting people in person doesn't exist anymore. She was 29, I was 28 at the time, and honestly her profile caught my attention right away. She had normal photos, not like those girls who only post filtered photos or bikini pics, and her bio said something about loving books and coffee, simple things, but I liked them. We matched, started talking, and like within a week, we were on our first date at a small Italian restaurant near my apartment. The first date was amazing, or so I thought. Nicole was sweet. She laughed at my bad jokes, asked me questions about my work, and seemed genuinely interested. At that time, I was working as a senior financial analyst. Made good money, but I wasn't a millionaire or anything like that. Like a comfortable salary that allowed me to live in a decent apartment and treat myself to some things. She worked in marketing for a small company. Nothing special, but it sounded stable. We talked about our families, what we like to do on weekends. Normal first date stuff. At the end of the night, when I walked her to her car, she gave me a kiss on the cheek and told me she'd like to see me again. I left there floating, literally. We started going out more often, and things seemed to be going perfectly. Nicole was attentive, affectionate, always texting me during the day asking how work was going. Surprising me with cookies she said she baked herself. I met her, parents like 3 months into dating. Her dad was a school teacher and her mom had a small bakery, hard-working and humble people who I really liked. They seemed to approve of our relationship. Her mom always sent me homemade bread. And her dad and I would talk about sports every time we visited. Everything looked good. You know what I mean? There were no red flags, or at least I didn't see them at the time. After a year together, I decided Nicole was the one. I know it sounds corny, but I really thought I had found my person, the one you want to build a life with. I planned this whole romantic proposal at a vineyard outside the city, one of those pretty places with the vines and incredible sunsets. I hired a secret photographer to capture the moment, bought a ring that cost me like 3 months' salary, a 1-carat diamond. Nothing crazy, but nice. And got down on one knee in front of her as the sun was setting. Nicole cried, said yes through sobs, and I felt like the luckiest man in the world. We posted photos on social media, got like 1,000 congratulations. Her family threw us a special dinner. Everything was perfect. But looking back, right after the engagement was when things started to change, though I didn't see it at the time because I was too in love or blind or both. Nicole started casually mentioning that she needed a new car because hers was getting old. She had a 2015 Honda Civic that worked perfectly fine. She'd say things like, "Oh, babe, wouldn't it be nice if we had a bigger car for when we start having kids?" And I, being the idiot in love that I was, thought it made sense. I helped her with the down payment on a new SUV, like $8,000 that I put down without thinking twice. Then she started with the clothes. She said she needed to update her wardrobe for work, that she wanted to look more professional now that she was an engaged woman. I was making good money, like about $85,000 a year at that point after a recent promotion, so I thought I could afford to spoil her a little. I bought her designer purses, shoes, dresses, probably spent like $5,000 on clothes in the span of 3 months. Nicole always thanked me with kisses and sweet words, told me I was the best boyfriend in the world, that she was so lucky to have me. I felt good making her happy, I thought that was part of being in a serious relationship. Then we started planning the wedding, and that's when the demands got really intense. Nicole wanted a big wedding, like 200 guests, at a super luxurious venue that cost like $25,000 just for the place. She wanted a designer dress that cost $8,000, a famous photographer, an expensive DJ, imported flowers, everything as expensive as you could imagine. When I tried to suggest more economical alternatives, she'd get sad and say things like, "I thought you'd want us to have the perfect wedding," or, "We only get married once, Oliver." And I'd give in. I always gave in, because I didn't want to see her sad and because I thought she was right. You only get married once. My best friend Kyle asked me a couple times if I was sure about spending so much money. Told me something like, "Dude, don't you think she's being a bit demanding with the wedding stuff?" But I defended Nicole, told him she just wanted everything to be special, that it was normal for women to get excited about weddings. Kyle shrugged and didn't say more, but now I realize he saw what I was refusing to see. Nicole also started planning the honeymoon, and obviously she wanted to go to the Maldives, like basically the most expensive destination that exists. We were talking about a trip that was going to cost $15,000 easy. I had my savings. I'd been saving since I started working after college, but all this spending was starting to take a toll on my bank account. I went from having like $50,000 saved to having less than 20,000 inches a matter of months. But Nicole always reassured me, told me that after the wedding we'd be more careful with money, that it was just this once and then we'd be more frugal. One day, like 2 months before the wedding, we were at my apartment. Nicole was in the bedroom talking on the phone with someone. I was in the living room watching TV. The bedroom door was half open, and suddenly I heard Nicole laughing loud, like that laugh you have when you're gossiping with girlfriends, you know? I didn't pay much attention at first because I thought she was talking to her mom or some friend about girl stuff. But then I heard my name, and something in her tone of voice made me pay attention. I turned down the TV volume without making noise, and that's when I heard words that basically destroyed me. Nicole was saying, "I can't believe it was so easy. Seriously, this guy is a total sucker." I thought it was going to take more work, but literally, I just had to act interested in his boring work stories, and he fell for it. I froze on the couch, thinking maybe I'd heard wrong or that she was talking about someone else, but then she continued, "Literally, I told him I liked books and now he's doing everything I want. He bought me a new car. He's going to give me a $60,000 wedding. He's taking me to the Maldives. It's like having a personal ATM, but one you also have to put up with." I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach with all their strength. I couldn't breathe right. My hands started shaking. Nicole kept talking, laughing with her friend on the other end of the phone. She said something like, "He's not even that good looking, like he's average, but he makes like $85,000 a year and has good savings, so it was worth the effort. After the wedding, I'll be able to quit my shitty job and live comfortably, while he works like a dog to support me. It's the perfect plan." I got up from the couch as quietly as I could, grabbed my phone, and started recording. I know it sounds crazy, but something in my head told me I needed evidence. That if I didn't record this, no one was going to believe me. I walked slowly toward the bedroom and stood near the door, recording while Nicole kept destroying me without knowing I was there. She was saying things like, "Obviously, I'm going to make him think I love him. I'm not stupid. But as soon as we're married and I have access to his money and his health insurance and all that, I'm going to do the bare minimum. Literally, I just have to put up with him for a few years. Have a couple kids to secure child support if we get divorced. And that's it. Angela, I swear this guy is the biggest sucker I've ever met. He believes every word I tell him." I recorded like 2 more minutes, enough to have clear evidence of what she was saying, and then I moved away from the door. I went into the bathroom and threw up. Literally threw up because I felt like my whole world was falling apart. The woman I was going to marry in 2 months. The woman I'd given an engagement ring to. The woman I'd introduced to my family and who had met mine was a complete fraud. Everything was a lie. Every kiss, every "I love you," every moment I thought was real, was just an act to get money from me. I stayed in the bathroom like 10 minutes trying to calm down, thinking what the hell was I going to do? Part of me wanted to go out right then and confront her, yell at her, let out all my anger, but another part of me knew I needed to be smarter than that. Nicole was clearly good at manipulating. She'd probably find a way to spin the situation or make me feel like I'd misinterpreted everything. I needed a plan. I needed to think things through. When I came out of the bathroom, Nicole had already finished her call and was in the living room, smiling at me like nothing happened. She asked if I wanted to order Chinese food for dinner, gave me a kiss on the lips, acted like the perfect loving girlfriend. I had to act too. I had to pretend I hadn't just heard her call me a sucker and a personal ATM. It was one of the hardest things I've done, like smiling and acting normal, while inside I was dying. We ordered food, watched a movie. She cuddled against me on the couch, and all I could think about was how fake everything was. That night, after Nicole fell asleep, I went to the living room and listened to the recording again to make sure it was real, that I hadn't imagined it. There it was, her voice clear as day saying all those horrible things. I sent the audio to Kyle by text with a message that said, "Need to talk to you tomorrow." He responded almost immediately, even though it was like 2 inches the morning, just wrote, "Bro, what the fuck is this?" The next day, I met with Kyle at a coffee shop near my office. I told him everything, showed him the full recording. Kyle was furious, more furious than me even, telling me I had to cancel the wedding immediately, that I had to kick her out and get the ring back. But I told him I wanted to do something more, that I wanted her to feel even a fraction of the humiliation I was feeling. Kyle looked at me like, "What are you thinking?" And that's when I came up with the idea for the engagement barbecue. See, we had planned to have a barbecue at my apartment like a month before the wedding to bring our families and close friends together, like a casual pre-wedding celebration. Everyone was already invited. The date was set. It was only like 3 weeks away. I decided that was going to be the perfect moment to expose her. Kyle told me it sounded crazy, but that he supported me, and he helped me plan everything. For the next 3 weeks, I had to keep acting like the happy, excited fiancé. Nicole kept planning the wedding, showing me pictures of dresses and flowers, talking about how perfect our life together was going to be. Every word that came out of her mouth made me feel sick, but I smiled and nodded. A couple times I almost exploded, almost told her everything right there, but I held back because I knew I had to wait until the barbecue. The day of the barbecue came, and basically all our people were there. My parents, my sister, Nicole's parents, her friends including Angela, who was the one she'd been talking to on that call, my work friends, like 40 people total. We had music, there was food on the grill, beer, everything looked like a normal celebration. Nicole was radiant, greeting everyone, showing off her ring, talking about how excited she was for the wedding. I downed like 3 beers just to have the courage to do what I was going to do. Like halfway through the event, when everyone was there and things were lively, I asked Kyle to turn off the music. People went quiet, thinking I was going to make a toast or something. Nicole was looking at me smiling, probably thinking I was going to say something romantic about her. I stood in front of everyone with my phone in my hand, and my heart beating so hard, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I said something like, "Thank you all for coming. Today, it means a lot to us to have you here celebrating our engagement. But before we continue with the party, there's something I need to share with all of you. Something I discovered a few weeks ago that I think everyone deserves to know." Nicole was looking at me confused, like with a nervous smile on her face. I connected my phone to the Bluetooth speaker and hit play on the recording. Nicole's voice filled the entire patio, clear as water, saying all those horrible things about me. "I can't believe it was so easy. This guy is a total sucker. He bought me a new car. He's going to give me a $60,000 wedding. It's like having a personal ATM. He's not even that good looking, but he makes like $85,000 a year, so it was worth the effort. I'll be able to quit my job and live comfortably, while he works like a dog to support me." The silence that followed was absolute, like you could hear a fly buzz. Nicole's face went from confusion to pure panic in a matter of seconds. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. I saw her mom put her hand over her mouth, horrified. Her dad's face was red with embarrassment. Angela, her supposed best friend, was looking at her with wide eyes. My parents were in shock. My mom was looking at me and then at Nicole, unable to believe what she was hearing. I let the recording continue a bit more, until the part where Nicole said I was the biggest sucker she'd ever met, and that she just had to put up with me for a few years to secure child support. Then I paused the audio, and the silence that followed was deafening. Nicole finally tried to speak, said something like, "Oliver, I can explain," but her voice sounded shaky and desperate. I told her, "There's nothing to explain, Nicole. Your own words say it all." Nicole's mom started crying. Her dad yelled at Nicole, asking how could she do something like that. Some of Nicole's friends were looking at her with total disgust. Angela literally told her, "You're disgusting. Is this how you really are?" Kyle came up to me and put a hand on my shoulder in support. My mom looked devastated, probably because she had really come to love Nicole and felt like she'd been deceived too. Nicole tried to approach me, trying to grab my hand, saying things like, "Babe, please, let me explain. It's not what it seems. I really love you." But I stepped back and told her, "Hold out your hand." She looked at me confused, and I repeated, "Hold out your hand, Nicole." Slowly, she extended her hand, and I told her, "Give me the ring. I want my ring back right now." Her eyes filled with tears. She started saying, "No, please don't do this. That we could fix it." But I didn't move, just kept staring at her, waiting for her to give me back the ring. Finally, with trembling hands, she took off the ring and placed it in my palm. I told her in front of everyone, "Our engagement is broken, the wedding is canceled, and I want you to get all your stuff out of my apartment by tomorrow. If you don't, I'm throwing it in the trash. I pay for everything in that apartment. You have no right to be there." Nicole completely broke down, fell to her knees crying, saying she was sorry, that she'd made a mistake, that she really loved me. But her voice sounded fake even while crying, like she was acting again. Her dad picked her up off the ground roughly and told her, "Pack your things, you're leaving my house too. I'm not going to have a lying, manipulative daughter living under my roof." Her mom just cried and cried, probably embarrassed by what her daughter had done. People started leaving. Some gave me pats on the back or hugged me. Others didn't even know what to say and just left uncomfortable. Angela approached Nicole before leaving and told her, "Don't ever talk to me again. I want nothing to do with you." My parents stayed until the end, helping me clean up. My mom hugged me and told me she was so sorry I went through that, but to be glad I found out before the wedding. And she was right. Imagine if I'd married her. We'd be talking about divorce and alimony just like she'd planned. Nicole got her stuff out the next day, came with her dad and a truck to take everything. I wasn't there. I left the keys with the building doorman and went to Kyle's place so I wouldn't have to see her. According to Kyle, who stopped by my apartment later, Nicole had been crying the whole time while packing. But honestly, I didn't care anymore. I'd spent over a year of my life with someone who only saw me as a bank account with legs. The next few days were weird. I had to call the wedding venue to cancel. Lost the $5,000 deposit, but it was worth it. Canceled the photographer, the DJ, the flowers, everything. Some vendors were understanding when I explained the situation, others not so much. I also had to return the ring to the jewelry store. Managed to get back like 60% of what I'd paid, so at least I recovered something. Nicole started sending me messages like a week later, literally hundreds of messages. She said she was sorry, that she'd been stupid, that she'd really fallen in love with me despite how things started, that she deserved another chance. I blocked her number after the first day. Then she started sending me emails, trying to contact me on social media. She even showed up at my office one day, like 2 weeks after the barbecue, waiting for me in the lobby. I saw her through the glass doors before going out and thought, I can't be doing this. I went out anyway because I wasn't going to let her keep me prisoner in my own workplace. She stood in front of me with teary eyes, telling me, "Oliver, please, just give me 5 minutes to explain." I told her, "Nicole, there's nothing to explain. I heard you clearly. You said I was a sucker, that you were only with me for my money, that you planned to use our hypothetical kids to get child support from me. What part of that needs explanation?" She started with how that conversation had been taken out of context, that she was joking with her friend, that I knew that sometimes women exaggerate when they talk to each other. I looked at her like, "Seriously? That's your excuse?" I told her, "Nicole, I don't want you in my life. Stay away from me or I'm getting a restraining order." She tried to grab my arm, but I pulled away and left. Building security must have escorted her out, because when I turned around, she wasn't there anymore. After that, she left me alone for a while, or so I thought. Turns out Nicole tried to continue with her plan, but with another guy. Like 2 months after our breakup, a friend of mine from college, Trevor, sent me a message saying he'd met a girl on a dating app and things were going well, but something seemed off to him. He sent me a photo, and obviously it was Nicole. Trevor is a lawyer and makes even more than me, like $120,000 a year. So I guess Nicole thought she'd found an even better ATM. I told Trevor the whole story, sent him the recording and everything. Trevor was totally shocked, thanked me for warning him, and cut things off with Nicole immediately. Apparently, Nicole had been telling him a completely different story about me, saying I'd cheated on her and that's why we broke up, basically making herself the victim. Trevor told her he knew the truth, and Nicole blocked him from everything before he could say anything else. I found out from Angela, who eventually contacted me to apologize for not seeing the signs before, that Nicole had to move out of the city because she'd basically burned all her bridges here. Her parents disowned her. All her friends cut contact with her, and after the thing with Trevor, she probably realized her reputation here was already destroyed. Angela told me Nicole had posted things on social media playing the victim, saying I'd defamed her and ruined her life, but that no one believed her, because too many people had been at that barbecue and heard the recording. It's been like 8 months since all this. And honestly, I'm still processing everything. On one hand, I feel stupid for not seeing the signs, for letting her manipulate me for over a year. Kyle tells me I shouldn't feel that way. That Nicole was clearly very good at what she did and that anyone would have fallen for it, but it's still hard not to blame myself a little. I spent like $30,000 total between the car, the clothes, the wedding deposits, the ring, everything. Money I worked hard to save, that I would have used to buy a house or invest in my future. On the other hand, I feel relieved I found out before marrying her. Imagine being legally tied to someone like that, having to go through a divorce, possibly losing half of everything I have, maybe even having kids with her that she'd use as weapons to get money from me. That would have been 1,000 times worse than what happened. So, in a way, I saved myself from something much more horrible. I've been in therapy since then, trying to process the trauma and betrayal. My therapist says it's normal for me to have trust issues now, that what I experienced is a form of emotional and financial abuse. I've gone on some casual dates, but I'm still not ready for anything serious. Like every time a woman asks me what I do for a living, I get nervous thinking she's only interested in my money. I know not all women are like Nicole, obviously, but it's hard not to let that experience affect you. What bothers me most still is thinking about all those moments I thought were real. When she introduced me to her parents and they told me they considered me part of the family, were they in on the plan or did they really not know? When Nicole cried watching romantic movies or when she told me I was her favorite person in the world, was any part of that genuine or was it all acting? I'll probably never have answers to those questions, and I have to learn to be at peace with that. Now, I'm 31. I've rebuilt my savings a bit, though I'm still not where I was before meeting Nicole. And I'm focusing on myself. I went back to the gym. I'm spending more time with friends and family. I bought a motorcycle I'd always wanted, but Nicole said was too dangerous. I'm learning to trust my instincts again and to set clearer boundaries in my relationships. Last week, my mom asked me if I'll ever be able to forgive Nicole, and honestly, I don't know. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to let the person back into your life, or that what they did is okay. It just means you let go of the anger so you can move forward. I guess I'm still working on that. There are days when I'm fine and don't even think about her, and there are days when I get angry again, remembering everything that happened. But each day is a little easier than the one before. What I do know is that I'm never going to let someone use me like that again. I learned to pay more attention to actions than words, not to rush into serious relationships, and to keep my finances separate until I'm absolutely sure the person is with me for the right reasons. It's sad that it has to be that way. But I guess that's the reality after going through something like this. And well, that's my story. The sucker who almost married a woman who only wanted him for his money, who discovered the truth just in time, and who exposed everything at a dramatic barbecue in front of 40 people. I still don't know if I did the right thing exposing her so publicly. Sometimes I think I should have ended things privately, but another part of me feels she deserved that humiliation for everything she did to me. I guess at the end of the day, I did what I felt I had to do in that moment, and I have to be at peace with that.